Some of the foods sold every day at Walmart have now made it onto the FDA's watch list, not because they are cheap, but because of hidden health risks behind labels that look perfectly harmless: packaging errors, bacterial contamination, or undeclared allergens. What's even more concerning is many of these products have not been recalled. They are still sitting on the shelves, still ending up in shopping carts every single day. And for shoppers, there is no clear warning in sight, so how do you know which ones to stay away from? In this video, we break down 6 widely consumed foods that have been linked to safety alerts and could pose a serious threat to older adults or anyone with existing health conditions. If you are still shopping at Walmart, especially for items you assume are healthy or convenient, take a few minutes to check again. What you are about to learn may completely change the way you look at your everyday meals. Number 1. Large brown cage, free sunshine yolks eggs. Eggs have always been seen as a healthy, familiar choice for American households. Especially for older adults, eggs are an affordable source of protein that are easy to digest, quick to cook, and practical for those who live alone or follow a restricted diet. But a recent FDA alert might make many people think twice. One particular brand of large brown eggs, marketed as cage-free and packaged to look like a premium organic product, has become the center of an investigation tied to dozens of Salmonella cases in California and Nevada. These eggs are not fake, not expired, but a common brand sold widely at Walmart. Many shoppers believed they were safer than the standard white factory eggs. What is more concerning is that this product has not been subject to a broad recall. Some batches were quietly pulled, but most remain on store shelves. Which means people are still buying them, still cooking them for breakfast, still serving them to their grandchildren without ever seeing a clear warning, unless they actively go looking for it. Have you ever looked closely at the code printed on your egg carton? Do you know exactly where those eggs came from? If your answer is no, you are not alone. Almost no one checks carefully when buying eggs because the habit of trusting them has been ingrained for too long. Eggs are assumed to be safe. The problem is when something so trusted carries hidden risks, what is truly protecting consumers. Many viewers have shared that they switched to cage-free or brown eggs because they felt more confident about the choice. Fewer chemicals, hens raised more naturally darker yolks. All of it gives the impression of being better, even if there is no strong evidence proving they are actually safer. And the troubling part is that this very trust is often exploited by distributors. When a product is marketed as healthy, very few people question the quality control behind it. According to the CDC, adults over 65 are among the most vulnerable to Salmonella infections. Symptoms can hit harder, cause severe dehydration, lead to hospitalization, and leave lasting complications. Sadly, this is the same group that relies heavily on eggs for nutrition. Many still enjoy soft-boiled eggs, runny yolks, or homemade mayonnaise with raw eggs, all of which carry risks if the eggs are not completely safe. The weak link here is not the consumer. It is the lack of proper communication. Certain batches have been flagged in FDA investigations, but there are no warning signs in stores, no emails, no QR codes for quick checks. An older shopper at Walmart who is not tech-savvy and has no one to help them look it up would have no way of knowing whether the carton they picked up is on the risky list. And so what should have been a source of nourishment quietly becomes a hidden threat. It is difficult to accept that one of the most iconic foods of the American breakfast table could end up on a health warning list. But this reality cannot be ignored. If you have always thought eggs were the last thing you needed to worry about, it may be time to rethink that. Do you have a carton of eggs in your fridge right now? Can you remember the last time you checked the lot code? And if you have an elderly family member living alone, have they even heard of this alert? Those questions might not have immediate answers, but they are worth reflecting on. Because at this age, we cannot afford to take one more risk with what we eat. Number 2, Taylor Farms Honey Balsamic Salad Kit.
A consumer alert for you tonight surrounding some salad kits sold at Walmart because of concerns over a possible Listeria contamination.
For many older shoppers in America, it has become a habit to grab a ready-to-eat salad kit from Walmart's refrigerated section. It feels like the perfect solution, convenient, quick, no frying, no grease. Especially for those trying to eat healthier because of blood pressure or heart concerns, or simply wanting something lighter for dinner. A bag of salad with greens, dressing, and toppings all included. Just open it, mix it, and eat. It doesn't get much simpler than that. But if you have always believed that a salad kit is a safe, low-risk option, the latest reports from food safety labs might make you stop and think. Several batches of Taylor Farms honey balsamic salad kit have been flagged for a serious allergen issue. The kits contain dairy ingredients that were not properly declared on the label, which means if you are allergic to milk or following a dairy-free diet for health reasons, there was no warning that you might be consuming something that could trigger a dangerous reaction. This kind of mistake is not unheard of, but it is one of the easiest to overlook because people assume a salad kit only includes vegetables dressing, maybe some almonds or dried fruit. Few imagine that the dressing could contain undeclared dairy. When was the last time you checked the ingredient label on a salad kit? Are you certain that you or your loved ones are not sensitive to milk, soy, or gluten, 3 of the most common allergens today? Some reactions are not always obvious right away. Bloating, indigestion, mild rashes, or unexplained fatigue can all come from hidden ingredients inside a salad that looks perfectly harmless. What shocks many shoppers is that kits like Taylor Farms are marketed as a healthy choice, yet their production is incredibly complex. There are multiple steps: washing and cutting the greens, mixing the dressing, packing the toppings. Each of those steps can involve different suppliers. If a mistake happens anywhere along the chain, such as using the wrong formula for the dressing or mixing in the wrong topping, it is the consumer who pays the price. And usually they pay in silence because almost no one thinks to double-check their salad. Unlike processed foods that are cooked before eating, salad kits are eaten raw. There is no heat to kill bacteria or neutralize allergens. You consume 100% of what is inside, including whatever you cannot see or smell. And there is no practical way to manually detect these risks. No one opens each packet of dressing to study the fine print, especially when the salad is already sealed, labeled attractively, and presented with clean, colorful images of fresh ingredients. Number 3, Lewis Bake Shop Artisan-Style 1/2 Loaf Bread. There's a quiet paradox happening on Walmart's bread shelves that few people notice. It comes in the form of small loaves, packaged to look rustic, labeled as artisan with 1/2 loaf printed boldly across the front. The message feels intentional, just enough lighter, refined, perfect for dieters, people living alone, or older adults trying to manage their carb intake. But behind that simple, home-baked image is a much bigger issue. Most shoppers have no idea what they are really eating. Lewis Bake Shop. Artisan-style bread has not been recalled. There is no mold, no foul odor, no obvious spoilage. Yet a serious problem lies hidden inside. Strong allergens were discovered without clear disclosure from the manufacturer. A random quality inspection revealed traces of soy eggs and milk in certain batches that were not properly labeled on the packaging. For someone with allergies or a medically restricted diet, the risk of a severe reaction could come from nothing more than a few slices of morning toast. And that risk is not the consumer's fault. It comes from packaging designed so carefully that it misleads. The bread is wrapped in soft plastic, printed with classic fonts and warm, earthy colors, often placed right next to organic or whole grain options. All of this creates the impression that it is a closer to nature choice, when in reality it is a commercial product full of stabilizers, texturizers, and hidden allergens. Have you ever considered that a small loaf seemingly meant for 2 people could be a silent danger for someone managing type 2 diabetes, or for someone recovering from heart surgery and taking immune-suppressing medication? One slice of bread does not bring anyone down instantly, but in a weakened immune system, a single undeclared ingredient can lead to irreversible consequences. The serious question is how many of us actually spend more than 5 seconds reading a bread label? And if that label is designed to inspire trust, how can an elderly shopper possibly tell the difference between a product that is carefully monitored and one that only looks healthy on the outside? They say bread is the food of the common people, but today the cheapest and most widely available breads are becoming dangerous traps for the elderly, the sick, and the health conscious. Not because of bad intentions, but because the modern food distribution system allows products with unclear ingredients to blend in among hundreds of other brands on the shelf every single day. There are no red warning labels on the packaging, no press release sent to shoppers, no Walmart associate standing at the aisle saying, if you are allergic to milk, don't take this loaf. Everything passes quietly as if there were nothing to worry about. But it is that very silence that makes the situation most frightening. Think back to the last time you bought bread. Do you even remember the brand? Did you read through the ingredient list line by line? And if you have a loved one living alone, can they tell which breads contain soy and which do not? No one expects to be harmed by a piece of bread, yet that harm is happening every single day, and no one is stepping up to take responsibility. Number 4, great value chicken broth. There may be a product sitting quietly in your pantry that could be harming your health, a simple carton of chicken broth you use for soup sauces or cozy meals. Great value chicken broth. The familiar single-use kind you toss out after cooking has just been added to an FDA safety alert. And here's the unsettling part: it is not spoiled in the usual sense. The problem is a packaging defect that, despite being sealed tight, may have allowed bacteria to slip in unnoticed. No smell, no taste, no visible mold. The FDA has already recalled more than 12,000 cartons of this broth sold at 242 Walmart locations across 9 southern states with specific lot numbers and expiration dates. Yet most shoppers remain unaware. You might think canned or boxed broth is safe as long as the color looks normal and the cap isn't swollen. But that overlooks the most important detail. The FDA classified this recall as Class 2, meaning the product may cause temporary illness or discomfort. That sounds minor, but for older adults, people with chronic health conditions, or anyone with a weakened immune system, even mild symptoms can lead to dehydration, prolonged stomach pain, fatigue, or hospitalization. The danger is that so many people still believe packaged broth is harmless. If it looks fine, they keep using it, sometimes cooking with it every day. But the FDA warns that the sterile environment inside an aseptic carton can be compromised in ways invisible to the naked eye. You could be preparing a comforting bowl of soup for your family without realizing it contains a hidden risk. Have you checked your pantry this week? If you find a carton with an expiration date up to March 2026 and a matching UPC code, it could be part of the FDA's warning list. If you do not check it, just sits there looking perfectly safe because neither Walmart nor the FDA can alert every individual shopper. Someone living alone without internet access or email alerts might only find out after eating it and getting sick. The trust we place in convenience is already leading to harm, mild for some, but potentially severe for those with fragile health. What makes this worse is the lack of visible warnings. There are no red tags at the broth aisle, no shelf signs, no store announcements. The only notice is quietly posted on the FDA website and recall page. Unless you actively look it up, you would never know, and very few people, especially those over 60, ever do. For them, health is a top priority, yet the information never reaches them in a way they can use. If you have ever stocked up on soup broth to save yourself a trip back to Walmart, the truth is clear. Choosing the easy option should not mean putting your family at risk. But when a carton that looks perfectly fine can harbor bacteria, even the shortcut that saves time can turn into a danger. You might say, I don't use it often, so I'm not worried. But this is not about panic. It is a reminder to pause for 5 seconds and check the expiration date, UPC, and lot number. Especially if you are cooking for an elderly parent or someone with medical conditions, make sure you are not accidentally serving them something that could send them to the hospital. No one expects to be betrayed by a product as ordinary as chicken broth, and it is not your fault for trusting convenience. The fault lies in a system that stays silent, and it is that silence that causes harm. Taking a moment to check and tossing out any suspicious cartons is not fear, it is the most caring way we can protect lives. Number 5. Market-side broccoli florets. The FDA has just escalated its warning on a pre-cut frozen vegetable sold at Walmart to Class 1, the most serious level. That classification means it carries the potential to cause severe health consequences, or even death if consumed. The unsettling part is that these vegetables may still be sitting quietly in the refrigerators or freezers of many households long after the recall notice was issued. This is not an exaggeration. It is a chilling reality. The product in question is the 12-ounce bag of market-side broccoli florets trimmed and ready to use. Perfectly convenient for a quick meal, especially for kids, seniors, or anyone recovering from illness. But during routine testing at a Walmart store in Texas, traces of Listeria monocytogenes were discovered. Instead of a sweeping recall, only specific lot codes were flagged, which means plenty of these bags ended up in shoppers' carts or back in freezers without their knowledge. Have you actually checked the bag of broccoli you tossed into the freezer? If you just stored it without glancing at the expiration date or lot code, you might be keeping a ticking time bomb in your kitchen. The problem is there were no bright red warning signs at the store. No shelf notices, no cashier alerts, just a quiet post buried on the FDA's website. For older shoppers, reading UPCs or lot codes is not something that comes naturally. They see a green bag that looks clean and wholesome and they trust it. What makes this especially dangerous is that Listeria doesn't always make its presence known right away. In healthy adults, the symptoms can be mild temporary stomach cramps, diarrhea, maybe some discomfort that passes quickly. But for those over 65 or anyone with a weakened immune system, a single exposure can trigger a serious infection. High fever, fatigue, flu-like symptoms, and in many cases, hospitalization. When was the last time you looked at the codes on your frozen vegetables? For many of us, buying frozen broccoli is a routine action: grab, rinse, cook, serve. The process is so automatic that few ever stop to think, could this bag carry something that threatens my health? Even after the recall, the danger lingers. Someone may have stocked their freezer weeks ago, planning to cook it little by little. For seniors living alone, patients fresh out of the hospital, or people with underlying conditions like high blood pressure or heart disease, one careless serving is more than just a few days of discomfort. It could trigger a long and painful decline. So do you still have that healthy bag of broccoli in your freezer? Were you planning to steam it tomorrow night without giving it a second thought? This is the moment to take a closer look. Just a few extra seconds could prevent a serious risk. The frustration isn't about one contaminated bag of vegetables. It's about how a product we trust, a product meant to be healthy and convenient, can quietly endanger hundreds of families without their knowledge. Not because someone wanted to hide it, but because the system that delivers these warnings doesn't reach the people who need them most. This is not a call for panic. It is a call to pause, to reflect, to ask yourself, could that frozen bag of vegetables in my freezer cost me more than it gives? Maybe it's time to check your freezer now before someone you care about pays the price. Number 6. Helados Mexico and La Michoacana ice cream. On a hot summer day, an ice cream bar isn't just a refreshing treat. For many older adults, it's also a taste of childhood. But this year, a new FDA warning has cast a shadow over that sweet memory. Some ice cream products from Helados Mexico and La Michoacana brands, so familiar that most people don't even think of them as mass-produced, have been recalled because they contain milk, even though the label never actually said milk. The package only listed cream, leaving people with allergies completely unprotected. The danger goes far beyond a mild allergy. What's alarming is that the sense of safety remains even when you could be holding something that poses a life-threatening risk to an older person who is sensitive to dairy. The FDA has already confirmed at least one serious reaction linked to these products. And yet the recall system is so limited that even longtime customers who have been eating these ice creams for years might never realize what they are consuming unless they happen to double-check the lot code and expiration date. Think about the last time you handed a box of ice cream bars to your grandkids, a family member, or even treated yourself on a weekend. Did you actually read the full list of ingredients? Without a bold "contains milk" statement, there's nothing obvious to warn someone with allergies. And for older adults with weaker immune systems, even a mild reaction can escalate quickly into something severe: anaphylaxis, difficulty breathing, or a trip to the ER if medical help doesn't come in time. What's truly frightening is that many families still have these ice cream boxes sitting quietly in their freezers, eating them one by one until they run out. Nobody thinks of it as storing danger in the freezer. And if an older person lives alone, they might never see the recall notice online or in the news. Too often, families only discover the risk when it's already too late. Do you still have a box of ice cream at home? Have you checked the lot code or expiration date since the FDA issued its warning? That sense of "I've eaten it before and nothing happened" is exactly what leads people to let their guard down. But this isn't one of those harmless situations. When unclear labeling combines with blind trust in familiar brands, the consumer ends up carrying the risk without ever knowing it. And just like the other stories in this series, this is not some overblown scare tactic. It's a very real fact. A widely sold ice cream brand has been named in an official FDA recall. Not because of bacteria, not because it's spoiled, but because of an allergen issue that could threaten the lives of vulnerable people. So will you brush it off? Or will you take a few seconds to check your freezer, and if you've bought these products, return them or toss them out? A small decision today could prevent a major health crisis tomorrow. Nobody ever expects that the foods we trust most, the ones we reach for without a second thought, could hide risks like these. But the problem isn't about one specific brand. It's about the fact that our food system allows silent mistakes to slip through, sometimes right into our kitchens. This video isn't about panic or boycotts. It's about a simple reminder: read labels more carefully, check more closely, and question more often. Especially if you are older, living with health conditions, or caring for someone whose health is fragile, taking one more look is not overreacting. It's protecting life.
This video does not promote division within the United States or encourage segregation. All content is presented for the purpose of exploration, analysis, and fostering discussion based on current events, public sentiment, and social trends. We fully respect the United States Constitution and all federal regulations. If today's analysis made you think, drop a comment so we can keep the conversations going. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you will never miss our next independent deep dive.